everybody, welcome to Flicks Talk, and yes, we are back talking about movies. Let's get back talking about movies, okay? So this is what I did. I took a book that I've seen like about 75% of the movies listed, and I'm going to break it up to two parts, so this is going to be part one. This is what I'm going to do. This is book right here. This is the first edition. Here we go. 101 horror movies you must see before you die. The second edition came out in 2016. This one came out in 2006. The second one has Jack Nicholson on it from The Shining, and it's not the one where he's coming through the door. I know that's a famous picture, a famous scene, but that is not the scene that they used for the cover. Just saying. The only difference between the second edition and the first edition is they only added 2 movies, so that will be in part 2. This video will be touching on, the 1910s, the 1920s, the 1930s, the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s. So I want to do 6 decades. May seem like a lot, but it's not really, because I got like a, see, this right here is what I'm covering in this video. This right here is the next video, because these are the 70s, 80s, 90s, to 2000s, anything after 2000s, right here. So from like 1910, or actually 1919, to 1970, it's just right here. So, ta-da! But out of these 101 movies, here are the movies I have not seen. I have not seen 28. So here's the list of movies I have not seen. Voila, there's a list of them. From 1920 to 2003. There you go. So, quick view of the movies listed in that book I have not seen. So what it does, it starts off with the 1919 movie, which I have seen, and I do think it is quite freaky. It actually is one of the silent films that I find quite scary, and it came from Germany. Seems like a lot of the silent films I have seen and really enjoyed came from Germany. They end up being German films. So in 1919's Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Yeah. That was kind of a freaky movie. Of course, some silent films aren't as long. Some are. But anyway, 1920, The Golem. I have not seen it. Another German film. I think I found it on YouTube. Some of these I have found on YouTube. My favorite silent film is right here. So much fun when you've actually been having a little bit of drinking, have beer or wine or something, and then you kind of come up with your own lines versus, the little pop-up lines that they gave it. 1922's Germany's take on Bram Stoker's Dracula, even though the widow of Bram Stoker would not allow them to call this movie Dracula, and no one, she had a problem with it. But Max Schreck played Dr. Orlok, I believe, or Mr. I think it's Dr. Orlok, in Nosferatu. And the next page, they usually have another picture here. There's a famous picture. Dr. Orlok. There's a Denmark, a Sweden movie from 1922 I have not seen. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Whatever. I don't know. It looks good. This one I have seen. Lon Chaney Sr. In 1925's Phantom of the Opera. It has one color scene, and it happens to be around that scene at the masquerade. So, he's all red in the movie at one part, but even though the last time I saw it wasn't that long ago. So used to seeing things in color, you know, you start off in black and white, and then when it comes to color, you just don't realize, like, oh, color. Here's a color scene. I didn't go, whoa. 1931's Todd Browning's movie, Bram Stoker's finally decided to allow, Bram Stoker's widow finally allowed, I guess, Hollywood to use Dracula. Probably because it has Bela Lugosi in it. 1931's Dracula. The Dracula right there, man. Right there. Bela. He is the Dracula, if you ask me. Right there. Ooh. Buried in his cape and all. Thanks to Frank Sinatra, who paid for his funeral and burial. So, 1931, Germany, from Germany. I have not seen this one. It's by Fritz Lang, starring Peter Lorre, or Lorre, M. Quite sure it's probably, since Peter Lorre is in it, he maybe speaks English, maybe it's an English spoken film, because a lot of these movies that I have not seen are you know, foreign, and some of them are most likely subtitled. So I have to be in the mood to read a movie. So there you go. Another one on this list is 1931's James Whale's Boris Karloff, starring Frankenstein. All these movies, they say you must watch before you die. So, y'all. This one I have not seen because I just haven't seen it. But I have seen the silent film, the 1920, starring John Barrymore. I have not seen this 1931 one of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So, but the one with John Barrymore, dude, A+, love it. This one, I will see. I just have to find it. Most of these, I have a list. I showed you the list. I am going to try to work on it and see how many I can knock out. Whatever I can find, I will watch. So, Todd Browning's 1932's This Used to Be Banned. This movie used to be banned. Freaks. They use actual freaks. Actual, you know, people in the movie. So if you saw like a half woman was real. So there was no special effects in making the freaks freakish. Trying not to use that word, but anyway. Here's one from France and Germany that I have seen, 1932's Vampire. I just kind of like the spelling of vampire with the Y. Another Lugosi film. There's a lot of Lugosi films, y'all, and Karloff films in here, and Peter Cushing, and Vincent Price, obviously, because it's horror, so of course you're going to see, you know, same actors, Christopher Lee as well. White Zombie, I own White Zombie. I own like a collection of Bela Lugosi films, so I believe White Zombie is in my collection. James Whale's movie starring Boris Karloff, Melvyn Douglas. If you don't know who Melvyn Douglas is, have you ever seen the 1980s The Changeling? Excuse me. He's in that as the old guy, as the Changeling. And also Gloria Stewart in this 1932's, as I said, James Whale's film of The Old Dark House. And it also lists who else is also in it, right there. Universal Picture. Seen that a few times. It's actually a decent movie. It's not bad. Yeah, here you go. There's Melvin as a young dude. This one I have not seen. 1932. It's got Bela Lugosi in it though, and other people. The Island of Lost Souls. So I guess I need to see this. So I need to see that. 1933's Fay Wray became a famous screamer in this one. King Kong. Yep, famous scene right there. She's screaming. And of course at the end, that movie is truly, as it says in the movie, that the beauty did kill the beast. And this is a movie that you actually feel sorry for the beast. Okay, there's like 3 different movies. There's like a 30s, 60s, I think, and 80s. I've seen the Vincent Price one, and I've seen the 80s one. I don't think I've seen the 30s one, this one right here. I may have, but I went ahead and put it on my list that I haven't seen, just to be safe. If I've seen it, fine. If I haven't, then it's on my haven't list. But it is, it's with Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi in the Black Cat, Edgar Allan Poe's Black Cat. Universal Picture. Here we go. James Whale's sequel to Frankenstein with Karloff is The Bride of Frankenstein. Equally as good, man, if not better than Frankenstein. And if you ask me, Karloff is the best Frankenstein. I know Lugosi and Lon Chaney Jr. played Frankenstein before in other movies, but I love Karloff as Frankenstein. Just like I prefer Lugosi as Dracula. So, out of all the Draculas, Lugosi is my favorite. Lon Chaney Jr., can we say 1941's Wolfman? Pretty much any Universal monster movie, but you know what? I don't think The Mummy The Mummy's not in it, and in this book, and The Creature from the Black Lagoon is not in this book. So, I personally love The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I don't know why it's not in here. I've seen the 80s movie, but I have not, and I have seen the 42. I just found like the 42 movie a little bit on the boring side. But here we go, cat people. Maybe because, you know, the 80s where they were able to show more and stuff. So, let's change the story up a little bit. Anyway. Here's a line. Sometimes they kind of feature lines in the movie or a quote that the director said. But here's a line. Some nights there is another sound, the panther. It screams like a woman. 1943's, I have not seen this one. I Walked with a Zombie. Okie dokie. There's one I need to see. From 1955, France. This one I believe is going to be subtitled, but I do want to see it. Diabolique. Here you go, like the American version right here, the name right here. But then you got like over here on this side. Here you go. Poster side. Woo. But the line here, this is the end title card. This is for those who saw the movie to the ones who have not. So this is, as I said, if you kind of understand this, it's for those who have seen it to the ones who have not seen the movie. Don't be diabolical. Don't spoil the ending by telling your friends what you've just seen. I think I've only seen this movie once, but it was outstanding. 1956. Patty McCormick. Holy cow. She did such a great job as the bad seed that that girl. Oh my goodness. Patty McCormick. That picture right there just tells it all. You can just tell just with her eyes closed. She's bad. Great movie. I agree that it should be in this book. I agree with almost all the ones I have seen that should be in this book, and there's some that should be added to this book that's not. Creature from the Black Lagoon. Not too major big fan of the Mummy from, of Karloff playing him, but here's one I have not seen, and it is a Frankenstein movie. 1957, Peter Cushing is in it, Christopher Lee is in it. It is The Curse of Frankenstein. He will haunt you forever. So I haven't seen that one. But I want to see it. This here's another one I haven't seen. It is a Dracula film, but I haven't seen it. It's with Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, and let's see, that's it. Horror of Dracula. So I haven't seen that. So there's some that I have seen. Back in the 50s, dude, I would have loved to have been in the theater itself to actually not just watch the film, but also I know there are some movie theaters that had the seats rigged where you can actually feel the movie. So, this William Castle was trying to be groundbreaking. And I would have loved to have been in one of those theaters where you were watching the film and then all of a sudden you also tingle in the Tingler with Vincent Price. So this one, yeah. I definitely say, I definitely agree with that one. This one kind of looks kind of neat. I wouldn't mind seeing this one. It's from France and Italy. 1959, Eyes Without a Face. That's kind of what it translates to. But if you see this picture here, it looks like it's definitely a mask, but the makeup looks pretty good. It looks like that it's maybe it's kind of tightly on the woman's face, and was actually able to be kind of make-upped on where it's not, doesn't make it look like it is so like a mask. But I mean, it's obviously a mask, but the makeup, they kind of made it looks like tightly fitted to her face. This movie kind of spawned like another, not really another subgenre of horror, but I think it inspired a lot of other forms of horror. And it's from 1960, and it's Peeping Tom. So yeah, I've seen that one, and that one's kind of makes, let's cover all the windows, those keyholes, people really can't look through those anymore, especially from the outside. There may be some doors inside a house, into a bedroom or something, maybe, but from the outside into normally, you can go ahead and hide the keyhole if you want, because I don't think you can actually look in there, but these days, not like that. So, like windows, keep your blinds closed and your curtains pulled and stuff. So yeah, another 1960 film, Universal, Alfred Hitchcock. We all know what movie it is. Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh, and Psycho. That movie has to be in this book, because this book wouldn't be worth it without that movie, don't you think? 1960s Mask of the Demon. I have not seen it. It's from Italy. Looks interesting, but I do like the saying here by the director. Photography in a horror film is 70% of its effectiveness. It creates all the atmosphere. Agreed. And the lighting. Lighting has to do with a lot to do with it too. So that's part of photography. So yeah, I definitely agree. Deborah Kerr in 1961's The Innocents. I have seen this one. I just don't remember. I just don't really remember it, but I have seen it. About the only Deborah Kerr movie I think I have seen. So, waking a child can sometimes be worse than any bad dream. Any parents out there can agree with that? Waking a child can sometimes be worse than any bad dream. The remake of this one I've seen, I didn't like it, but I love this one. That's probably why it's in this book. It's actually had a twist at the very end that I didn't see coming, but hey, it was cool. I need to rewatch it just to, refresh my memory. But other than that, yeah, I highly recommend it. It's 1962's Carnival of Souls, the remake that came out, I think, in the 90s. Y'all can go ahead and skip that one. I mean, I think it has just the same name, but as a storyline, has nothing to do with it. I mean, two different movies, same title, pretty much. 1962, well, I think these two people, I don't know why they agreed to do a movie together. I think they hated each other, but it made the movie work. Because just, if that's true, as I heard, that they just fed off of each other's, hatred towards each other to really pull off a great movie. And, Betty Davis, Joan Crawford, whatever happened to Baby Jane? Great movie. That's a great movie. Have you ever seen the movie Hitchcock with Anthony Hopkins? Let's get the right Anthony here. Anthony Hopkins plays Alfred Hitchcock. And pretty much the movie is about Psycho, about the making of Psycho, about his time of how he filmed it and made it and the process he went through and stuff. But at the very end, because his next movie after Psycho is his next movie that came out in 1963, introducing Tippi Hedren in The Birds. Because you see Anthony Hopkins as Alfred Hitchcock at the end of Hitchcock, and he has like a bird on the shoulder. And so you don't know, he's getting ready for his next movie, and you just see the bird on his shoulder. And it's like, yep, bird's next. Actually, I thought that was a good film, so. 1963's movie, based on Shirley Jackson's short story. Here's The Haunting. I believe it's, of course, I think it's called The Lottery, I think. But it's pretty good. It's like two movies. It's like The House on Haunted Hill and The Haunting. Based on the same short story. Okay, this Japanese film that came out in 1964, I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm going to attempt. I will most likely slaughter it. I do apologize. But it's Anibaba. I don't know, y'all pronounce it. But that's what it is. It's, Japanese is known for their horror, their good horror. They got Ringu and Ju-on, which is The Ring, and then The Grudge in American. So some of their horror films are, they're a little bit too horror for U.S. standards, but I like them. They're good. Vincent Price in 1964, the Mask of the Red Death. I haven't seen it. It's a cool poster, though. I like that poster. Looks interesting. Man creates his own God, his own heaven, and his own hell. This is your hell. Okay, maybe I'll go see if I can find it today and watch it. Roman Polanski's 1965, so this is before the bad stuff that happened in 69. Repulsion. I've seen it. I've seen a few Roman Polanski movies. His is good. Usually films his in England, so. A haunting concept of the pain and pathos of the mentally deranged. Got it. Yeah, this one from the Soviet Union, 1967. VIY. How do you pronounce that? I mean, so, bye. Every individual will suffer. Whatever you may say, the body depends on the soul. That's from that one. Here's another one that's from Sweden, from 68, Hour of the Wolf. So I've never really heard of it and seen it, obviously, so it's on my list, though. Here's a movie I have seen, and the last time I tried to attempt to see it, I fell asleep. It's a Roman Polanski movie, Mia Farrow, Rosemary's Baby. Rosemary's Baby. Even though you see, look, blue screen. The picture, the picture's like green, so whatever. Can't see the good picture in there. Here you go. There's a better here. Rosemary's Baby. From England, 1968. The Devil Rides Out. Here you go. The beauty of women, the demon of darkness, the unholy union of the devil's bride. So, the poster says Devil's Bride, but it's also Devil Rides Out. Some of these movies. There are movies out there that have two titles, are known to have two titles. The last movie I'll be talking about is one that I think everybody should see, whether you are a horror fan or not. So, as you see behind me, decided to put, a picture of some horror people. Trying to get everybody to see. So, this is one where kind of like movie stores, those who still sell movies, DVDs, they can't just give this one away because people either already have it, maybe in another collection, or they just don't want it, but they've seen it a million times. But George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead. Everyone needs to see this one. Because it's a classic cult. I think it's a cult classic, but it's also a classic. Even the remake, 1990s remake that was done by Tom Savini, who directed it, he did the makeup. No, he was supposed to do the makeup for this one. He had to go to Vietnam. But the only reason why he directed the 1990 movie of Night of the Living Dead is to make sure that George Romero kept the rights to it. So, anyway, as far as I know, that was 30 years, so from almost 30 years apart, so I don't know if he still owns the rights or not for even though, like the Romero family, I don't know if they still own the rights to Night of the Living Dead or not, but that is one movie that everyone should see. All the other ones I mentioned, need to see it too. This is just one book in the series, horror, there's different genres. I thought they would have more genres, but they also have, 101 action, movies to see before you die, the sci-fi movies, cult movies, war movies, and gangster movies. So they have other genres. I thought they would have drama or comedy, but they don't have them. So I just found action, sci-fi, cult, war, and gangster. So if you guys like any of those genres, they also have books of those. So 101, war movies to see, you must see before you die. Besides just horror. So that's about the first half. I'd cover 6 decades, kind of, 1919 to 1970. So this part 1. Part 2 is coming up, which I will start off with, 1970, obviously. So I ended with 1969, 68, with the Night of the Living Dead. And I'll also be adding the 2 that they added from the 2016 second edition of the book. So, but if you have this one, you pretty much have all of them except for the 2 that was added. That was copyrighted 2016. This was copyrighted in 2006. So the last movie actually entered is from 2006, I believe. Which is, 2007. How can it be? Anyway, whatever. 2007's movie. Anyway. Thanks for watching. Part 2's coming up. So, this is just part 1. 101 horror movies you must see before you die. I just went over some of them. Part 2's coming up. Keep watching. See you later. Bye, guys.